Hello, everyone. Today, I am going to be joined by Nichole Banks. Nichole is a well-known speaker, life coach, and author who has dedicated her career to helping individuals unlock their full potential and achieve their goals. She has years of experience in the personal development industry and has developed a unique approach to coaching that emphasizes the importance of mindset, self-awareness, and action. As a speaker, Nichole has delivered numerous talks and keynote speeches at conferences, workshops, and other events, inspiring and motivating audiences around the world. Her dynamic and engaging style, coupled with her deep knowledge of personal growth and development, make her a sought-after speaker in the industry. As a life coach, Nichole has helped countless individuals overcome challenges and achieve success in various areas of their lives, including career, relationships, and personal growth. Nichole has a gift for empowering people to tap into their inner resources and build the confidence and resilience they need to achieve their dreams. It was a great conversation with Nichole. Hope you enjoy listening to her as my guest host on Choose Your Next Yes. Are you in a new season of your life? Are you stuck and searching for clarity so you can make a career change? Do you just need the courage to switch careers? Are you ready to follow God's plan for your career? Welcome to Choose Your Next Yes. Hi, Kindred. I'm Mel, a career transition coach, mom of grown-ups, coffee lover, and God girl. I've had a lot of big life changes, and I haven't always been clear about God's plan for me. This led to stress and anxiety and a lack of clarity and courage to make a career move. I finally started listening to God's voice to find clarity and peace and stopped being scared to make a move and achieve my career transition goals. Now, my mission is to help you learn to listen to God's voice and know when to say yes to the career you've always wanted and no to everything else. Let me show you how to clarify your purpose and find courage to pursue your personal and professional goals in your midlife and beyond. Throw down your self-doubt, dust off your dreams, Kindred. It's time to reset and refine and reclaim the woman you once aspired to be. Have my second guest host with us today. We are both yucked up and we have started coughing and clearing our throats, so ignore that. Hopefully we can make it through with a little bit of water and a whole lot of Jesus. So I have today with me Nichole Banks. I am going to let Nichole introduce herself to you. So Nichole, tell us what you do and why you do it.
Hey, Mel, thank you so much. First and foremost, I definitely want to say thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here. And yes, it's so weird. We were kind of doing a little pre-podcast engagement and I'm choking, she's choking. I'm like, oh no.
I know.
So we do have our water. All is good. Yeah. So I am a life coach for women over 40 is my typical client. Women helping in transition, women who are going from point A to point B, women who are really looking for that push or that drive to get to where they thought that they should have been 10 years ago, right? So
yes.
One of the things that I do is I take care of all of the accountability for them. So really just making sure that they are on track to do what they are setting out to do. But I am a life coach. I am the author of the Second Act Formula, How to Thrive in Midlife. That's going to be out this spring, the latter part of the spring.
Awesome.
Also a women's retreat host. I have an amazing women's retreat in May here in Carefree, Arizona. It's called You Unlock Mastering Clarity and Confidence. And eventually you'll see it on the website, but it is epic. I cannot wait. This house is amazing. The pool is surreal. I'm thrilled to be doing that. And then of course, just being mindful that I am also a podcast host with the Nichole Banks podcast. Yeah.
Okay. And you do some blogging also.
I am a blogger. Yes, ma'am.
I have seen some of your blog posts and I get your emails
Oh, good.
Yes. I look forward to some of your emails every week and looking at those and kind of connecting that way and seeing who you are. And so it's nice
Thanks.
that way. And I'm a little bit
Thanks.
jealous that you're in Arizona. I am here in Missouri and it's perpetual winter here. I do not know what's going on. This is ridiculous. It was like 21 degrees yesterday morning. And I'm like, what? It's almost April. So
Yeah, Mel, you don't want to know. It was 74 here yesterday. So
I know.
And I hate to say this, but I'm the person that I'm speaking to. So I'm the person that was in the Pacific Northwest. I was in Washington State for 10 years. And my husband and I actually just built a brand new custom home. And we moved into it a year ago in November. So not this last November, but a year ago. And we went through the winter, we went through the spring, and right towards the end of summer, right around July, the middle of July, I just said to him, what is holding us back here again? And he goes, well, we just built this beautiful home. I said, but we both know it's not our dream home. So what again is holding us back? And so we literally just looked at each other and said, are we going to jump? And I said, I think we're jumping. He goes,
wow,
I think we're jumping. So we literally lived in our home 8 months and sold our home and moved down to Arizona. I have an adult daughter here that went down to ASU and never came home. So this has been the closest I've been to my daughter in almost 14 years now. So love it. Love being here. Yeah, love being here. We've been here since September. I haven't gone through a full summer, but again, because my daughter was here, we would travel quite often, 3 or 4 times a year. So we were snow bunnies before we even became snow bunnies or snowbirds, whatever you want to call it, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
But everybody's being hit really hard with the winter. So
yeah, it's pretty rough. My boyfriend, he's from Miami, and this is the first winter he's spent, like full winter he's spent out of Miami, and he is like everything. He's like, why are my lips like this, and why is my skin so dry? I'm like,
that is so funny.
Welcome to Missouri, babe.
That is so funny. I love that he moved there for you. He moved there for you?
No. He actually, we met after he moved here. Yeah, he actually moved here to help his mom. And yeah, help her get her business back up after his dad passed away and stuff a few years ago. So yeah, we actually met at that time. So it's great. Yeah.
Okay.
So tell us about your coaching program, all of the things. Like, what was your biggest challenge getting started? Like, tell us about your coaching program from start to finish.
Okay, you got it. So basically what happened, and I'm going to tell you the little story, the backstory behind myself, okay, first and foremost, because that's really where it has been pulled from. So when I was in my late 30s, I was going through a divorce. We were together 14 years and he had infidelity issues, right? And he's a great guy. He's fun loving. He's loyal. He's everything that I can imagine in a partner. However, I just didn't get along with his girlfriends. Right. So there was,
well, I can't believe that.
Nope. We didn't get along. So there was infidelity issues on his end. And after 14 years, I finally said, that's enough. So I was going through that time. And I also lost my dad to pancreatic cancer. So while the infidelity issues and the hospice and the cancer, all the things going on there, my daughter was also leaving to go to college, right? So I had empty nester. So I had all the things happening. And Mel, my mindset at the time was really on the outside. I was and people pleasing to everyone. Yes, I can take care of dad. Yes, I can deal with, the college admission. Yes, I can do this. I can do all the things. Okay. And I really just started putting myself on the back burner. And before I knew it, I was saying no to myself. And no, I can't take time to do this, or no, I can't take time to heal or mourn or do all the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves. No matter what you're going through, you still need to take the time to do you, right?
Exactly. And I can relate to that big time because my mom just passed away in October. And so it was left to me to take care of everything because my dad that's not his thing. Like to take care of that kind of thing is not what he does. My brother was a total mess and I am the only other person. And so it was left to me. So I didn't even get a chance to grieve. I didn't even cry at the funeral. And do you know how shitty I felt not crying at the funeral? And I'm sorry, ladies, for saying that word because I don't say those kind of things. But when your mom passes away and you're at the funeral and you don't even cry because you just don't even have that left in you to
No, basically
Because you
what we're
have so
doing,
many
because I
things.
did the same thing and talk about guilt, right? I mean, I spoke to my counselor, my therapist. Actually, she's a therapist. She's not a counselor, but I spoke to my therapist about it 2 years after the fact. And I'm going to tell you why, because I'm going to continue with my story, but I did the exact same thing. I said yes to everybody else and took care of everything. I even did the eulogy at my dad's service.
Wow.
Right. We had this huge celebration of life. There were over 200 people. And then my sister looks at me and says, well, who's announcing stuff? Who's doing all of that? I'm like, oh, well, apparently it's me because I've done everything else so far.
Right.
Why not? Right. So
Yep.
I stepped into that role without even realizing the things that I was saying and doing. I was just trying to make it memorable for the ones that were there to share and stories and love on my dad. It was about my dad. It was never about me. Right.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
but no one is stepping up to do it. Had I not stepped up to do it, my dad would have not had the service he had. So
Right.
I was really proud about that. However, I didn't shed a tear. I was just making sure the ham was being served, making sure the desserts were there, making sure everybody had a seat, make sure the music was playing, making sure all the things you're doing, you just do all of that. Okay. So with that being said, it literally was a time in my life where I just really felt imprisoned. Really stuck in between the two ears, right? I literally couldn't get out of my own head. I was just really in a funk, in a mood, in a swing, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And I just couldn't get off. I couldn't get out. I couldn't get under. I couldn't get over. It literally immobilized me.
Yes.
So I didn't want to go out and see anybody. I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to personal develop. I didn't want to read. I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to do anything. So I did some drinking. I did a lot of gambling. I did everything that you can think of to numb, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I chose to do. I numbed. With that decision, though, it did not allow me to do the things that I needed to do to live everyday life.
Yes.
And so I ended up choosing to do something that ended up me serving time behind bars.
Oh my.
Yeah. So when you think of what you're capable of doing, because you would think, oh my God, I would never do that.
Yeah.
But that day that I did my crime, I lost everything that I was raised with, right? My ethics, standards, morals, my rights, my reputation, all the things that we think of that we just go by because this is what we do. These are the things that we do. But I lost everything.
Yeah.
And I was embarrassed. I was scared of judgment to ask for help.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know how to utilize my voice. So the thing you have to remember, or the thing I'm sharing with you, is I did that all on my own as well. I went to court every single month. It was 16 months later that I was sentenced. I was sentenced 20 months. I was sentenced 54 months and I served 20 months, 16 days and 4 hours.
Wow.
I lost everything. I've never been a criminal. I have no history. There's a lot of people who are like, my friends and family are like, you just got the book thrown at you. You were made an example because you're such a leadership in the community. And at the time I was. That's exactly who I am today. I am still that person who wants to take on that next gal and say, you know what, there's room over here at my table, right? Come on over. Let me support you. How can I serve you? I've always been that person. And so what's interesting is at the time of all of that, I was embarrassed to ask for help. I didn't know the process. I was naive. I've never been in trouble before. The only thing I've ever been in trouble for was a speeding ticket. That's it. Okay. So the judge threw the book at me. I served my time, and remembering that I was stripped of everything. I mean, everything, but I found myself.
Yes.
And when I found myself, it was leaning in and just really accepting, your base, your fan base, your listeners have a faith. And I encourage you to lean in and listen and take to heart and hang on and hold. I will also share with you that there were more things in there that I saw that I can never even fathom that I've seen before, nor would I ever want to see again. However, so we talk about my coaching program. This is what that is. It's called Dare to Begin, is where I feel like everything is. It's the second act formula coaching program, and I go under the Dare to Begin. So the D stands for decluttering your mindset, because it all starts in your head. The A stands for activating your confidence. The R is removing your fear, right? Removing your fear And the E is allowing you to enjoy your best life.
I love it.
Dare to Begin is my acronym. And it's one of those things where it literally all starts with you. It's like my retreat, You Unlocked. Everybody holds their own keys. And so being able to discover what those keys are, what you need, what doors you need to turn and what doors you need to lock and never open again. And so it's kind of one of those things where we go through each step, we go through, and it's kind of it's really interactive, as in like it's a fun thing because, I feel like I know you're a teacher. I've always been a leader. I've always been a speaker. So when I see the lights come on for the clients or the people sitting in the audience or the listeners, right?
Yes.
All of those ladies right now that are listening, they're either on their treadmill or cooking dinner or driving in the car in traffic. You know what? Just take a minute right now. I highly encourage you all to just take a minute and know that everything you have and everything you want, you already have inside you. I'm your coach to help motivate it and show you the ways to unlock it and or lock it up for good.
Right. And so I come at it at a little bit of a different perspective. So it's the same concept, but mine is biblically based. Mm-hmm. And so it is, you already have the things inside of you, just like you said, those are God-given gifts and talents that he has given to you. You just have to discover what they are. And that's what I help the women do that I coach is to discover what those gifts and talents are and what they can do with them. Where do your gifts and talents merge with your passions and your interests? Love it. So, it's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah.
Love it. And it's interesting too, because, my past clients are like, wow, I can't believe, and how come I didn't know about a life coach before or a transitional coach before or a confidence coach before? I'm like, listen, I don't know. I mean, you have to remember, it was 15 years ago that I served my time. And so I'm not that person. I mean, I literally was that person for just that short period of time.
Right.
That only made me stronger of a person of who I am because I still have my core values. I mean, I've regained them. I live by them daily, all the things. However, I was going to share with your audience and you is that when we think of being able to reach out and ask for help, that is you advocating for what you really want. And you're your own voice. And I love that life coaches, transitional coaches, God-based coaches, whatever it is that you are doing, it is okay. And you absolutely can because you've got the message, right? We're not reinventing the wheel. We all know that. Okay. Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But it's the way we share our message or the way we inspire or the way we encourage people. So I encourage your listeners to dust off anything that you have been sitting on and let's go, ladies. Let's go.
Yes. And, your experience in prison has shaped who you are and your message to the women that you coach. And we are not defined by the things we do. We are defined by who we are, who God created us to be. We just have to figure out who that is. And sometimes it does take a little bit of digging and to unlock who you are. Like we've got it in there. And And nobody, I think very few women who are in our time of life know who they are when they're going into this time of life because you've been a mom, you've been a wife, you've been whatever it is you were doing in your career. Or if that wasn't the career you wanted, it was just the job you had to take at that moment. We all have those experiences and things that shape who we can be now. And we get to unlock those things. Like you said, now is the time for us to really dig in and use those experiences for other people.
Absolutely. I always say dare to begin. And here's the reason why, because we're not promised tomorrow. Right. We're not promised tomorrow. It can happen in an ice storm. It can happen in a car accident. It can happen with us just not taking care of our heart. All the things, right? It can literally just happen. Accidents happen all day long, all around the world. So when we say, oh, well, I'll get to it next year, right? Yeah. I would love to take your viewers. Listen, here's the thing. If you are really thinking of something, if you just think of one thing, just one thing you've been wanting to change, I don't care if it's less carbs or less caffeine or less alcohol or less, cussing, whatever the case may be, just think of one thing you've been wanting to change and how long it has taken you to get that down?
Yes.
Or the question is, have you gotten it down? Because if you haven't, right, and you start over again, I'll start on Monday. Oh, wait, I'm going to start in the new year. I'm going to start in the new year. Listen, dare to begin today. I think one of the things that we do as women, and we know this, Mel, we're yes women. This is what we've done. We've said yes to our kids. We've said yes to our partners and spouses and our husbands. We've said yes to the dogs and the animals. We've said yes to our family members, right? Cousins and mothers and in-laws and all the things. The neighborhood we've said yes to.
Yes.
We've said yes to the community. But when was the last time you said yes to yourself?
Right.
Because that's really what happens, right? When we get put on the back burner, and let's call it that, we literally say no to ourselves.
Yes. And we feel guilty when we do say yes to ourselves. When I was doing my market research, some of the women expressed that they felt guilty, or they wanted to be okay with putting themselves first now.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. You have to remember, because I guess the question is this, that you would have to ask yourself. If you don't put yourself first, who will?
Right.
Exactly. No one will. No one puts themselves first for you. You have to do it for yourself.
I just used this either in my podcast episode Sunday or the one that I put out yesterday, but like when you're on the plane and they tell you put on your own oxygen mask first, because you cannot help other people if you pass out.
The flight attendant analogy. I love this. Yes, I teach this one too. Go ahead.
Fill your cup first, because if you don't fill your cup, you don't have anything to pour into anybody else. So absolutely.
It's so funny that you say that, because I had a class that I was teaching. It was a 6-week class. It was in person just before COVID hit. And that is one of the things that, how do you put yourself first? And we had talked about the analogy of the stewardess, right? It's like, okay, when she gives you the instructions, you'll see the mask come down, you put it on yourself first. And then, this gal, bless her heart, right, was so sweet and so emotionally driven behind this. And she's just literally like, I could never, ever not take care of my child first. And I said, you know what? Listen, here's the thing. I have mad respect for you. Because it is your baby. That is your precious. That is your gold. That is your everything. Not only did you bear, life to that child, 9 months of connection and all the things. And she says, I just could never do it. And she all of a sudden just was really emotional about it. And I said, well, let me ask you this. And we're going to go crazy. We're going to take this analogy a little bit deeper. And I said, with your permission. And she says, yeah, absolutely. And I said, what happens if you pass out and your child does not know how to share his oxygen?
Yep.
What happens if you're injured and your child doesn't know how to yell out for help because there's so much chaotic going on? What happens if the plane crashes? Will he know how to perform CPR on you? Will he know how to share his oxygen? Will he know how to put pressure on a bleed if you're bleeding out? I mean, this is the extreme. And this is the thing that we think about. But if you flip the mask and you're the one that's able to share oxygen with him, or hold pressure on a press point, or wrap something around him, or yell for help, or carry him out of the plane. I mean, you think of all the things, there's truly more reasoning by just going, okay, put your oxygen mask on. Right. Exactly. I mean, if you really think about it, there's really more in the case of emergency, and God forbid we ever were to be in one, that we actually heed the warnings of these amazing trained professionals. They've been there. There's a reason they're there, and they're helping to guide us. So I expressed that to her, and she goes, never really thought about it that way. So taking time to say yes to you and put yourself first without the guilt. It's not about being selfish, and it's not about just me. It literally is about giving yourself an opportunity to recharge, refocus, regroup, re-energize, do all the things. Because here's the thing that I think a lot of women forget about. And that is simply that when we are burnout, like we're working for the man, we're trying to get our side hustle going on, our coaching business, our podcast, whatever it is that we're doing, and we are so burnt out, the first thing that goes out the door is ourselves. Yeah. And then goes our attitude and our love and our
Yep,
passion. And we walk
absolutely.
around with little snips and clips and just,
Yes.
we're cranky and we're just irritable. And that's not fun. No one wants to be around you when you're like that, ladies. So check yourself at the door.
Exactly. And I know exactly when I'm getting that way. Like when have pushed as far as I can and I'm just completely worn out and haven't had enough sleep and those things.
No.
I am not someone you want to be in the same room with. I am not nice. I'm just going to lay that out there.
No, but and listen, here's the thing. We're not looking for, your fairy godmother that's just 24/7 all the time because life happens.
Exactly.
Life happens all the time,
exactly.
right? But just because you had a bad 5 minutes doesn't mean it's a bad morning or a bad day or a bad week, right?
Right.
If you take the time to do you first, whether that's meditation, prayer, service, communication, whatever it is that you choose to do to revitalize yourself, OMG, get her done, ladies. Get it done because it is just bringing on a new you. And then what's interesting about this is why, and one of the reasons I became a life coach. It's the ripple effect. I'm addicted to the ripple effect. And what does that mean? That means that Mel, if you and I were working together, not only are you amazing and happy camper with the work we've created, right? But your approach to life affects the people around you. So now your partner's happier. Now your household's happier. Your kids are happier. Your in-laws are happier. All the things. And it's the craziest thing because I get emails and text messages from people that I don't even know who they are. They just tell me who I've helped. And it's just like, really? Okay, cool. And I'm addicted to that. I'm like, I love this because it really makes the world a happier place.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that I'm a morning person. So that is my time. I get up early. I make sure I have plenty of time to do my devotional, have my coffee before I even start getting ready for the day. And I've always been a morning person. Even when I was a little girl, I would get up long before my family did. And I would go outside and ride my bike. And I was like, if it was daylight, I was outside riding my bike, waiting for everybody else to get out of bed. But you don't have to be a morning person. If you're an evening person, still find some time, take a bath, go lay in the hammock. I talked about laying in the hammock yesterday. That is one of my favorite ways to, if the weather would ever get better, but, just lay in the hammock, listen to a podcast or an audiobook and just swing and feel the breeze. It's just an amazing feeling and just lay there for 30 minutes even. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to take hours for yourself. You can take 30 minutes. You can take an hour, whatever it is. Just make sure you have some downtime.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with that. I mean, it's one of the things that I do every day. And in my morning routine, I always include 10 minutes of personal development.
Thank you all for listening today. I would love for you to join me on Friday to catch the second half of my interview with Nichole Banks and to pick up where we left off with our personal development. I would really appreciate it if you would show a girl some love and hop on over to Apple iTunes and leave me a 5-star. That would help me grow the show and reach more people. Have a blessed week, and I will see you on Friday.